Hello everyone. So there's a lot of content on the internet about manifesting, and if you still feel like you've tried to do it and you can't get it, I understand it's a very frustrating feeling, especially because there's so many people in the comments and success stories of people getting really easy results. So if you're not getting results, it can be like, why the hell am I not? And it's very frustrating. And I've been there before. I've manifested lots of things and then really struggled to manifest certain things. So it just didn't make sense to me, and I figured out why. So if you clicked on this video and you struggle, I really think this is going to help you. And I'm going to try and break it down as simply as I can and make it as easy to understand as possible. And then you can implement it and then get your stuff, get the things that you want and change your life. So let's get into it. So I have consumed a lot of that's supposed to be me, by the way. Consumed a lot of books, watched a lot of YouTube videos over the years about manifestation, why you might struggle, you might not get quick results, literally thousands of them, thousands of videos. And I think that I finally got it, like I said in the intro. And the bottom line is that you are so powerful. You are a wizard. And there we go. And my kind of the basis of flawless manifesting, in my opinion, is realizing this power because it's so natural and it's who you are. And it's about stripping away anything that gets in the way of you knowing this truth, in a sense. I haven't explained that very well, but I'm going to get more into that. What forms my understanding of who we are and what we are part of and why we have this power goes back to a time when I was in philosophy class. There we go, there's me again. And I learned about this philosopher called Baruch Spinoza. He was from the 17th century, and he was very controversial at the time because he opposed the kind of current theistic points of view that seem to be everywhere. And I spoke about pantheism, which was a new kind of branch of philosophy. In theism at the time, there was this idea that God and the universe are separate. God lives outside of our time and space, and we pray to God, we can communicate with God, but he ultimately is separate from us. But what Spinoza spoke about was this kind of new idea that instead of God being outside of our time and space, God is very much within our time and space. In fact, God is time and space and is everything in the universe that we are experiencing, and therefore we are inside of God. And, you can see why Spinoza caused a lot of controversy at the time, because rather than this idea that, the traditional religions like Christianity were saying that, we're God's creation, Spinoza spoke about God more as a substance that is in everything. The universe is God, so rather than us being creations of God, we are made up of God. The universe and everything in it is God, which means you as a human essentially are God. Because you are inside of God, therefore you are made up of what God is. Now this can seem a little bit complex, but just stay with me here. I'm going to give some more examples. So imagine that God is the ocean. I want you to imagine that you are a singular drop of water in this ocean. You are not the whole thing, but you are part of it. Same way that if God is a tree, please enjoy my lovely drawing. You are not the whole tree, but you are a leaf on this tree. You are part of God. You are made up of the same substance that makes the whole tree, but you are not the whole tree, but you are part of the tree. So I really started to see Spinoza's theory as a truth, and once you embody this truth, it's going to really help you with manifestation. And I'm going to talk about how much this idea is spoken about in the ancient texts. If we go to Christianity and we look at Acts, this is just one example out of many. This kind of idea that we are inside of God and we live in God is in all of the texts. This is just a quote that I'm writing, one of them. For in him we live and move and have our being. It's literally explicitly there. I think that this has been interpreted in a lot of ways, in different ways, considering how Christianity is today. But if we look at Hinduism, it's also in that religion as well. By me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me. It literally says right there, all beings are in me. This is exactly what Spinoza was saying. It's pretty profound when you start to dig deep, and it's in Buddhism, it's in Islam, it's in Judaism, it's in Taoism, it's in all of them. And I can leave some quotes, but Spinoza's in God theory is basically confirmed from all of these, and we are literally all expressions of the infinite force. which we call God. I think I'm gonna write, yeah, which we call God. This is key here, because this is really going to help you realize your manifesting abilities. So therefore, as a human being, you are made up of God. Like I've said, made up of God. Human, therefore, are creators. If God created the universe, if God is a substance that forms the universe, and you are made up of the substance that is God, that means that you are a co-creator of the universe. And this means that you might be more powerful than you originally thought that you were. You know, as a society, we kind of live in this victim state. We are taught to believe that the power is outside of us, that we have very little control over our lives, and that what happens to you is just luck. And I'm here to tell you that this is absolutely not true. There are definitely external factors which are caused by the rest of us co-creating, but you are very powerful and you do have God's power inside of you. But we do not, most of us don't exercise this power because we haven't been taught this power. And as I'm speaking, you might actually feel some resistance coming up. You might have thoughts in your mind saying, this is not true. What is this God talking about? This is crazy. Obviously, this is not true. But kind of try and notice these thoughts coming up as resistance. And this is just your programming. This is just what you've been taught. And I think that the most important thing you can do in life is be open-minded that what we've been taught as a collective isn't necessarily the truth, and that if one wants to maintain their power, the way that they do that is by teaching everybody else that they have no power. I'm not saying that our kind of lack of understanding of this is necessarily due to some malicious intent by those in power. I'm saying it could be possible, but why we don't know this truth is kind of irrelevant. But the most important thing is that people are starting to find out, people are starting to wake up to this truth and starting to take control over their lives and realizing that they're not victims. You have had the control all along, and you can just use that power. And it sounds very simple and oversimplified here, but it is that simple. The problem is that, like I said earlier, we've been programmed against this pretty much our entire life, whether it's explicitly being told that we have no control, or whether it's like subliminal messaging that we're powerless, that we are subject to people who control us, subject to governments, or even just subject to the external factors of life. You know, you may have been told in life that that's not realistic, or you might have been witnessed other people experience certain things. I'll get more into limiting beliefs in a little bit. But the way that you can recognize these limiting beliefs is seeing what does not align with our true natures as creators. And our true nature as creators is God's true nature as creator. So if we think about how God's powers would be, they'd be limitless. He wouldn't have any doubts about whether what he wants to happen is going to happen. Full faith, knows what he wants will happen. And that's key here, is that in life, once you set an intention for something, once you decide that you want something to happen, here it says God knows what he wills is going to happen. And there's no doubts. Once you set an intention to create, it's done. That's essentially what the manifestation process should be: an intention, a desire to create, and then knowing that it's going to happen. And that knowing, in turn, is going to make what you want create, because that is God's true nature. And therefore, because we are made up of God, that is also our true nature. Manifestation was never supposed to be complicated. We are creators. Manifestation should be intention, and then it's done. Just knowing that it's going to come about. But as humans, we've been programmed to believe otherwise because of limiting beliefs. Examples of what these limiting beliefs can show up as: I don't have control. This is one that most people in the world believe. It takes time. I have to work hard. This is very common in our kind of hustle-driven society. I have limits. So just a very general one. Science doesn't prove manifestation. I hear this all the time, especially with people around me who tend to be more skeptical, which is fair enough. We've been conditioned as a society to kind of value what science verifies and doesn't. But it's important to realize, you know, the universe is so mysterious and big. Science is not going to have the answers to everything yet. And we can kind of look at people's experiences over and over again. I've literally read thousands of success stories of this working for people. I myself have had many crazy experiences, hence why I feel driven to share this information with the world. And limiting beliefs can also be specific to the thing that you want to happen. They don't have to be general beliefs about your power. Just some examples here. So if you're trying to manifest a relationship, but you deep down believe he doesn't love you, or you think you're not good enough, if you want money and you think money's hard to earn, that's going to really shape your experience and your ability to have that, create that. Physical changes just can't happen. That's also what I wrote. Because to manifest, we need to remove the blocks, and these blocks are limiting beliefs, to our unprogrammed natural state of creator. So what I spoke about earlier as God, this state of being where we have no doubts and we know what we want is going to happen. And like I said before, this state is our natural state of being. This state is what we are made up of. This state is God. But these limiting beliefs, they almost, I don't know if cover up is the right word, but they definitely, we identify with these beliefs. We identify with this way of thinking, and we think that this is us, and we think that this is who we are and what our life is, when really it's actually covering up the true essence. And what I'm trying to get at here is by removing these almost dark clouds that are covering the blue sky underneath, this is the easiest way that we can manifest, by returning back to that original state of who we are. And this is also the way that we can be happy and fulfilled and live in the present moment. So I'm going to get into more of what these blocks are, what these dark clouds in the sky are, and therefore by understanding what they are, we can start to remove them. So let's get into detail about what blocks really are. I'm going to use the word blocks and limiting beliefs kind of interchangeably, but they are essentially the same thing, just what stops us from being in our true state. And it begins when we are a baby, right? We come into this world very innocent, very pure, almost like a blank slate. But then we start to form beliefs, and these beliefs form from our experiences and things that we're told. So often collective beliefs that the world holds, that's what we will learn. And negative experiences lead to negative emotions in the body. So when we're children, this begins. And because we're not really taught how to deal with negative emotions, we resist these feelings because they're overwhelming. And through resistance, they get stuck in the body. And this is how our beliefs from negative experiences become anchored in our body, and they become stuck in our body. And they become almost our state of being and who we are, who we identify with. So by clearing these anchored negative emotions, this is how we can change our state permanently. And this is why I think that this is the best method to manifest, because affirmations are a very classic thing that's taught. And although these can work and eventually remove these blocks, I think ultimately a lot of the time they cover up blocks. And like I said before, like they can help you release the blocks. If you have very deep-rooted blocks, this can be very difficult. And this explains why people get very fast results from robotic affirming. It's because this affirming helps them get into this state of having what they want and being powerful and being God, and they can very quickly manifest it from being in that state. But if you have blocks against these affirmations, these anchored emotions, these anchored beliefs from negative experiences, then these affirmations won't really feel real. You won't be able to easily get into the state of having what you want and believing what you want is real, aka the God state of who we really are. And therefore it can feel very frustrating and like you're getting nowhere. You don't believe your affirmations. And although people say that you can still manifest if you don't believe your affirmations, I think by removing these blocks in the first place, A, you're getting permanent change, and B, the process is so much more enjoyable because living in the state, the God state of knowing that what you want is happening, just this kind of relaxation, this living in the present moment, knowing that you already have what you need, that is so much more enjoyable than kind of forcing your thoughts to change, if that makes sense. And the easiest and best way to remove these blocks, these things that get in the way of us believing we can have what we want and that we are here to create, is a process called EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. It's also known as EFT tapping because you're kind of tapping on the points. I'm going to get into more detail on what this is, but I'm also going to create a playlist of the best videos. So it's tapping on the meridian points, which triggers our kind of energy system in our body to start flowing, in combination with CBT, cognitive behavioral technique therapy, which is accepting negative beliefs. And by releasing the resistance and accepting these beliefs, this is how we release them and let them flow out of our body, which we should have done in the first place, but we're not taught how to do that. And we replace them with positive beliefs, which align with our desires, align with the state of being that we want to be. And therefore, we're no longer held back by these limiting beliefs, these kind of scars on our blank slate of being. And we can really, truly manifest what we want very quickly. Because at the end of the day, we're here to create. We're not here to suffer. We're here to have fun. And we're here to be kind of mini gods creating what we want. We are God as humans. But most of us live kind of live by these blocks, live by these limiting beliefs, and we forget who we truly are. And that's not what we're here to do, I don't think. I think we're here to play, I think we're here to create, and we're here to have fun. And our kind of lack of understanding of this, I think, is what causes so many people to suffer, because most of us aren't living in our natural state. We think we have no control and we're living as victims, which feels bad because doesn't align with who we are and what we're supposed to be doing here, which is creating. Hence why there's so much dysfunction in the world. There's so much negativity caused by these kind of stuck emotions in our bodies. So by releasing these emotions, this is how we're free, and this is how we return to our natural state, and this is how we create joy and love, and just live in the present moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an EFT tapping playlist, which I'm going to put in the description of the video. I'm potentially going to do some of my own EFT tapping videos on this channel if you guys are interested in that. But there's a lot of free content that's already out there, which is amazing. So many amazing practitioners on YouTube. So I'm going to put some general videos in the tapping playlist, but feel free, if you're dealing with a specific problem and a specific limiting belief. So if you want to manifest money, there's so many videos about releasing money blocks caused by negative experiences to do with money. So you can research that and find specific videos to suit your needs. I'm also happy to recommend some if you want to comment down what you need help with. But yeah, this is definitely the way forward, I think. It's helped me so much. It's helped me just feel lighter and just feel happier as a person. There are a lot of coaches on YouTube who talk about, like I said, affirmations, visualization, and while I think those things can be great, I think a lot of the time they kind of cover up the block rather than removing it, almost like putting a bandage over a wound and not really getting to the root cause of it. That's my personal belief. I'm not trying to limit anyone here, but if affirmations work for you, then keep that up. But if you haven't really had much success with them, I think that this is overall the best not technique, but approach to have life-changing results that stay. So I really do think that this is the best way to manifest and the best way to make permanent change in your life and release these stored emotions in our bodies that don't just stop us from manifesting, but they also cause us physical damage. There's a really amazing book called The Body Keeps the Score, which I can also link in the description, which talks about how kind of unreleased and trapped emotions can manifest into other things like diseases. That's a conversation for another day. But I really hope this video helped you. If you have any more questions, just leave them in the comments and I will have a look and try and respond in the best way that I can and help it become clearer. But yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.